Holiday Tactical Plan for APD will be using this substation to house a number of units to kind of help combat crime during the holiday season. For those of you who don't know, my name is Randy Sanchez. I'm the general manager of Coronado Center. And just during the month alone in December, we'll have over 3 million visitors shop in the Uptown District. And what that means is, you know, overall during the course of a year, the Uptown District generates over $400 million in retail sales, which is about $40 million to the city coffers in the Duke City. And one of the things that has helped contribute to the success of the Uptown retail is the presence of our men and women in blue. And so one of the things that people during the last year and a half that we've all had to deal with, I won't mention the word, but the last year and a half, is that this is probably the most opportune time to go shopping at the bricks and mortars. You know, with the retail climate as it is now, if you find it in the store, you can buy it. A lot of times you've all heard about the shipping problems that are getting merchandise. And so, you know, for those online shoppers, it may be, you know, March or April before you can get your gift. So, you know, shopping in the Uptown District is probably the way to go to make sure that your loved ones have a holiday gift. But, you know, one of the things that I'd like to do is, once again, thank the men and women in blue for all their support with this Uptown Holiday TAC Plan. I'd like to special thanks to Mayor Keller and Chief Medina for their continued help. And anyway, at this point, I'd like to introduce the mayor. Let's welcome Mayor Keller.
So far, we're used to COVID, you know, we're all like across the street. Well, thank you so much. And it's great to be back at Coronado. And, you know, we have obviously many traditions, whether it's family traditions or different things we do as a community, from River of Lights to our Twinkle Light Parade. But look, we also understand it's shopping season. And so one of the traditions we also have is that the entire state really comes here to shop at Coronado, at Cottonwood, and at Nob Hill, and at Uptown, and all our shopping venues, even West Downtown and everywhere in between. And so we know that, you know, this tactical plan that we put together every year is not just about Albuquerque, because this is one of these situations where Albuquerque bears the brunt and the responsibility of trying to make a safe shopping experience for the vast majority of the state of New Mexico. So we're proud to be able to offer wonderful retailers and vendors to the entire state, but also it means a lot of overtime and extra work that APD puts in, as well as our partners. So obviously Thanksgiving is coming up tomorrow, and we're expecting a very busy holiday season. Whether it's coming out of the pandemic or it's the fact that our economy is actually doing quite well, we know those two things coming together mean lots of shopping. And so we also know that we're open in many ways, right? Unlike we were last time. So for us, this is something where we're expecting things to be extremely busy. And I think all of you know, too, whether you try to buy a cell phone or whatever, there's shortages because of shipping and China and all this other stuff. But there's still lots of great stuff, obviously, you can purchase on hand. And we actually think more people are going to be shopping in person because of the delays online. So the issue is that basically now it's already too late to get your stuff by Christmas. You have to buy what's in stores right now. And so we think people are going to figure this out and show up in droves all across our city. So we also know that APD is going to be ready. So we have a tactical plan that our chief and our area commander is going to go over. It does hit on the typical hotspots in the area. It includes both undercover folks. It also includes traditional sites like our mounted unit, which will be out at Coronado and Cottonwood malls. And so with a little bit more on this, let's hear from our chief of police. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. You know, as the mayor said, our shopping centers are going to be the key and a big focal point of the shopping season that's coming up. But I first just want to give a quick update. Back in October, we had a homicide in the city of Albuquerque that occurred at Central, in front of Central Grill restaurant. The victim, Nelson Gallegos, was killed during a road rage incident. Our investigative support unit just took the offender into custody, and more information will be coming out as we process this. But as we talk about this, we're going to talk about how busy we're going to be during the holiday season and some of our plans. I remember being a patrol sergeant on Graveyard in the northwest part of the city in the mid-2000s, and I specifically remember one of the busiest nights of my career was actually a morning, and it was the morning after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. And I remember we had units running from area of Cottonwood Mall to area of Irving and Coors to the Target, all over the places. We had massive crowds, and it was the first time I experienced a holiday shopping season of that magnitude. And it was occurring throughout the city, and all the Graveyard sergeants the next week we spoke about it, and we were like, man, we just got killed that Friday after Thanksgiving with the crowds that were out there. And from that point forward, I always knew that as a Graveyard officer, sergeant, lieutenant, later a commander, that I needed to ensure that we had resources out to keep the public safe, and that this was a big part in the kickoff to our shopping season. And that's what we're going to do this year, is we're going to start off on the Friday following Thanksgiving, making sure that we have the appropriate resources out there to keep the community safe during this time that's become a tradition throughout cities throughout the country, for people going out and making those initial purchases that, as the mayor said, go all the way through the Christmas holiday itself. So we want to make sure citizens are safe. We know that with the good of all the shopping, sometimes there's individuals who are frustrated, and we need to control that frustration. But we also have to not just look at the shopping and the crowd that is brought in. We have to look at our behavior around these shopping districts. I guarantee you there will be crowds. There will be traffic. And we've talked about this in the recent past, that we all have to take a step back as a community, and we have to recognize that as we've asked our law enforcement agency to de-escalate situations where force isn't used, we're all asking our community to take a step back and de-escalate situations. I guarantee you there will be cars cut off. We don't always need to honk at that individual and escalate the situation to the point where we're not just dealing with shoplifting, we're dealing with violent crime. So we're asking that our citizens also take precautions to assist themselves during this holiday season. Let's not leave valuables in our car where they could be viewed and become a target for somebody who's breaking into a vehicle. Each year we have almost 1,000 firearms taken out of cars that are left in parking lots and broken into. These firearms help fuel some of our violent crime problems throughout the city. So please remove your firearms from your vehicle and don't leave them unattended in a car as we go through this shopping season. We're putting a lot of resources. I just authorized us to individuals who are working this holiday TAC plan to use extra overtime during this period to ensure that the community is safe, and we'll continue to devote the resources needed and authorize the overtime needed to make sure that our community is safe during this special holiday season. It is the first, big holiday season coming out of the pandemic where things are a little bit different this year. I think last year at this time we were all talking about spending Thanksgiving away from family and friends, and we had a lot of limitations. This is kind of going back into normal life, and we want to make sure that we have all the resources out here. The Commander Weber has much more detail on the specific operation to the northwest, but we are going to be hitting all of our shopping areas. We know the northeast here, Coronado Mall, across the street, all this area back to Winrock is a shopping center that's going to shopping district that's going to see increased volumes of traffic. We know in the northwest around the Cottonwood area, so all these shopping districts are going to be getting increased patrol all the way down to Central, and we'll be devoting resources during this holiday season. And for specifics about the Northeast operation, Commander Weber. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor. And thanks to our hosts here at Coronado Mall for allowing us the opportunity to come out here and address you. As the area commander of the Northeast, what I generally get are phone calls about issues that are happening in the area. And one of the things that we get a lot of is complaints from our retailers that they're losing business to theft and that they have customers who don't feel safe. I get calls from residents who say, I don't feel safe going shopping right now. And so as we approach the holiday season, I want to assure people that my number one goal as the area commander here is to ensure that people feel safe and that they feel secure when they come shopping. And so this area I believe in talking to some of our retailers, this area with Uptown and Coronado and Windrock and the other shops that surround this area and the hotels, they probably see more visitors and more revenue than any other area in the state of New Mexico this time of year. So it's important to me that people don't feel like they should turn away from this area because they're worried about crime. And that is not going to be the case this year. I will assure the public that we are going to use a lot of high visibility patrol. We'll have officers out in vehicles with their lights on. They'll be doing patrol checks frequently. I'll be tracking those stats. We're going to have undercover operations here. We're going to work with our partners at the Attorney General's office and other agencies to do organized retail operations when we can to prosecute those offenders that make a living victimizing people and then selling that merchandise to third-party markets. So we will utilize camera trailers from our real-time crime center. We're going to rotate those around the shopping area as well as our hotels where people come to stay in the area. We're going to utilize, as Chief mentioned, the horse-mounted patrol and as many of our undercover units as we can when we can to use them. So bike officers, we have a golf cart that our city council was nice enough to purchase for us that we're going to utilize. It allows the officers to get around much quicker and easier through the parking lots. So overall, I anticipate that the public is going to feel very safe here, and you know, I myself will be out here driving around in uniform with my lights on. I feel like it's that important that as the area commander, I will be out here. With that, I don't want to take up everyone's time. If you have specific questions that were not answered by one of us or concerns, please let me know and I'll attempt to address that now.
I hear a lot about the holiday shopping, but in terms of maybe parades coming up, we all know what happened in Wisconsin. Curious to know if there's any specific plans you have to keep people safe with that.
We have the Twinkle Light Parade coming up downtown. It's not my area, but I do know that they're bringing on extra off. We do that every year. It won't be a reaction to this, but we bring lots of officers in just to have traffic checkpoints and so forth. And I know that our traffic division utilizes barriers and we restrict the blocks. So I feel like the public can feel confident about that, but I would defer to the chief on any other specifics because it's not my area.
You know, I think it's important to remember we do have a Homeland Security unit, and basically they help do all of our event planning. We've planned for large events like Balloon Festival each year and keeping people safe in that. And the same care that goes into planning those events will go into planning any parades that will be happening within the city. So we do have Twinkle Light Parade that's coming up in the near future. There will be a police presence and there will be a plan to try to ensure that we keep people as safe as possible. But I do agree that there is a heightened awareness across this country with some of the recent trends that have occurred. One of the other things I just want to add on is all the property that's stolen from malls and retail stores. It becomes very appealing to citizens to look online, and a lot of these merchandise is sold illegally in parking lots. It's sold illegally on web pages. If the deal is too good to be true, remember that. It's too good to be true, and there's probably a reason why somebody's selling 5 brand new drills in boxes. And an individual can be charged if we can show that an individual did know that the property they bought was stolen and they possess stolen property. It's very easy to articulate that you paid $30 for a drill that generally costs $120 and that you reasonably should have known that it was stolen. So there's risks on both sides, and we ask the general public to really take caution when they're looking for those good deals. And if they're picking up something that appears to be stolen, that there is a risk for them purchasing those items and being charged at a later time.
I know you guys are, worried about manpower. Obviously, you're got a short staff all over the city, not just here. Are you going to be pulling people away, just doing extra overtime, 12-hour shifts? Like, how are we going to do with manpower?
I think that we've shown that in the past, when we put all our resources to focus one area, we're able to be successful. Throughout the past 18 months, we had anti-crime operations where we combined all our resources and made sure that we were focusing on individuals with warrants, the drivers of crime as we called them. A while back, we took all our resources, we gave into violent crime, we worked on warrants, we worked on robberies, and we really made an impact on Operation Turn the Tide and getting the resources they needed. It's going to be the same concept. We're combining all our resources for the sole purpose of ensuring that residents are safe over the next few weeks for the holiday shopping season. I did authorize officers to go above their cap on overtime for specifically only holiday tack plan to ensure that we keep areas safe. So there's a lot of modifications we make as a department to ensure that we get our resources all focused in the areas that we need to. And it's kind of the system that we've learned to have to play. Being short in resources, we have to be resourceful. We have to find ways to make sure that we attack the problems. And one of the ways we found that is making sure that we put everybody together and get everybody on the same page and increase our internal communication with ourselves as a department and using partnerships when we can.
Yeah, and Chief, if I could just add to that real quick, because one of the things I was remiss in mentioning was you mentioned short staffing, and we've had our recruiting unit work with the mall here, and we will be having recruiting events actually during the shopping season. We're going to be able to contact millions of people who will be in and out of the mall that will see us, and so we hope that that's going to be a fruitful thing for us, and we appreciate the mall accommodating us for that.
Thank you, everyone.
Play football. I don't know.